Right, lads, conscious nutrition. So you're often going to hear me say the word conscious because I think we all just coast through life not genuinely thinking about things with intent, and especially when it comes to our nutrition. So every decision that we have to make, we have to be present and conscious when we're making these decisions, because it's so easy to just eat and not learn and put these things into your body that are having a detrimental effect, but you don't understand that they are. So it's just after this weekend and after this seminar, we're going to think more consciously about our decisions, about the things we're putting into our body. Now, it is genuinely so important, lads. We talk about mental health, and predominantly the wing is to improve men's mental health, yeah? So everyone's singing off the same hymn sheet from the instructors' mindsets that nutrition comes first. You have to be getting your nutrition right. Sleep is massively up there, but if you're not getting your nutrition right, guess what then takes a hit? Your sleep. And then if you're knackered, then you're not exercising correctly. So it's the most important thing, lads. So conscious about our decisions when it comes to food and drink. So like I say, leave with a clear and conscious understanding of nutrition. And a massive problem is we don't understand what the risk factors are. So have a little bit more of an insight of the risk factors when it comes to the things we're putting into our body. And I want you to all be able to freely and simply navigate the complexities of nutrition, because it is a minefield and there's no ultimate one size fits all. You have to learn your body, and it's a big long process being able to understand what benefits you the most. So I want you to understand that. That's what we're going to go over the next few slides, boys. So when it comes to nutrition, it is genuinely life. It is genuinely your whole life. The decisions that you make with your food are going to have a massive positive or negative impact on every aspect in your life. Now, when we look at these 13 lifelines, I call them, right? Your essential minerals. Now, we look at these, we don't understand what half of them are. These things your body requires, otherwise it dies. So do you understand how frustrated I get as a nutritionist that I see this message perpetuated within the whole entire fitness industry that micronutrients do not matter, and it's all about your macros, it's all about your proteins and your fats and your carbohydrates? Why would micronutrients not matter if they're the first things that you're going to die of a deficiency of? Now, why have I highlighted potassium and magnesium? Potassium and magnesium, if we were all to starve ourselves, which we're not going to obviously, but if we did, the first thing, you wouldn't die from starvation of energy, starvation of calories, because calories are a unit of measure, heat. How much heat that food is going to give your body, how much warmth it provides your body with, right? So if you eat too much warmth, guess what it stores? That's fat, yeah? So it's calories simplified, yeah? We don't die from an energy deficiency, you die from that first. You die from a potassium and magnesium deficiency. So how important are actually these over calories, protein, carbohydrates, and fats? Of course we need to be conscious about these things. So that's what I want to show you a little bit more about. Like phosphorus, that sounds like something crazy that we use for weapons, don't they? But phosphorus is your energy source. And all of these minerals you're getting from predominantly whole foods, go figure, yeah? Grass-fed beef, your eggs, your vegetables, your fruits, your walnuts. I call it God-given food, yeah? Stuff that we're supposed to be eating before the food industry was compromised, which, you know, I'm going to go into that as well, 100%. But yeah, phosphorus, your energy sources. You've got little energy sources in your muscles. Adenosine triphosphate, they're called. So tri for three, yeah, Greek. Tri for three. And when you contract your muscles, one of those little things break off, and then it becomes adenosine diphosphate, and that goes through that same repetitive cycle. So all this wee mad stuff's happening inside your body that we don't even know about, really. Because sure as heck I never got taught any of this at school. Did you lot? No, of course you don't. So these are things that we all have to understand and make a conscious decision to want to understand more. Now, the next slide, lads, you're going to see the top line and you're going to think, blooming heck, Johnny. But I'll explain why. The mass genocide. What's genocide? Does anyone know what genocide means? Scott, don't you answer too much. It's a killing of masses of people, isn't it? Now, listen, before I go into this, I'm not for 1 second insinuating that there's an evil cabal of people sitting around a table like that, planning how they're going to have a detrimental effect on society's well-being. However, the current food industry and capitalism is killing folk at an alarming rate. A vast majority of the cancers are lifestyle-induced. A vast majority of diseases are lifestyle-induced. So, capitalism, what is that? It's obviously trying to turn a pound more at every single turn. You're trying to make more money. So then, without going too heavy in it, but the big, let's call it a bit of a lie that was perpetuated within society, that fat was bad for you. Fat's one of the most beneficial things that we can have in our human body. Yeah, natural fats. So it's very difficult when we understand that the food industry is literally stripping that fat out, because what's the fat? It's the most expensive thing. So let's strip the fat out the yogurts, let's strip the fat out the milk, the stuff that's the most beneficial. You know that, Gus, you've got your relatives on the diet that I suggested, and they managed to get off medication. So this is the stuff that's most beneficial for us, lads. So if they're trying to constantly add this cheaper ingredients to the food, i.e. bulking agents that they put in yogurt, stabilizers, all this stuff that they're continually adding to bulk up the food, is having a massive detrimental effect on our health. Now, there's a great disease specialist, Dr. Chris Van Tuliken. He's got his own book, all about ultra-processed food, and he explains it beautifully. This food, the preservatives, the additives, the bulking agents, the stabilizers, the emulsifiers, the flavorings, the colorings, it's actually fact that it's affecting your endocrine system. So if anyone doesn't know what your endocrine system is, it's your hormone system. Yeah, doctors go and study for 12 years to learn your hormone system and become an endocrinologist. Now, this is all your serotonin, your melatonin, your ghrelin, your leptin. Yeah, your ghrelin and your leptin and your hunger hormones, right? So these hormones get released within your body to allow you to know when you're full, or to allow you to know when you're hungry. But this food that we're constantly eating, the ultra-processed food, is affecting those hormones. So if we're not getting the signals to our brain, we're constantly wanting more and more and more. So if that's having such a detrimental effect on our hormones and our endocrine system, is that contributing towards our longevity? Absolutely not, lads. And it's the state of the current food industry is terrible, especially in the UK. See, now that I live in Cyprus, different ball game. Different ball game. Obviously, they've got the kiosks and the supermarkets, and you know it's creeping in there because the more people, the more they have to bulk out the food, and that's how it happens. But it's a different ball game just now. They barely ever eat ultra-processed food. It's your vegetables, your fruit, your meats, all this really positive stuff. Now, I wanted to go into one of the things that is really affecting us, boys, really affecting us. And listen, when I talk about conscious nutrition, even the things that I say throughout this seminar now, I still want you to say, oh, that was interesting, but then you go look into it, because everyone's going to tell you different things within this industry. So then, if I'm going to be conscious, I'm going to take on this information, go and study, go and look into these things. But one of the things that's causing a lot of inflammation, and as we know internally, inflammation starts the vast majority of diseases. Now, I want to talk about these bad boys, yeah? Seed oils, vegetable oils, all the fry light sprays, all this kind of stuff. Now, I don't know if you boys know, but on the left-hand side there, a company called Procter & Gamble. Procter & Gamble were two businessmen, capitalists in America. There's their nice little headquarters in the UK, not shy of a penny or two. These guys had no business being in the food and the health and fitness industry, no business at all. And then they realized that there was a surplus of machine lubricants, and they managed to find a way to refine these machine lubricants and process them into going into our body. Now, if you boys are going to build a business, what's the most important thing realistically that you have to think about? How do you get people to see your business? How do you get people to take your product? Marketing. The first marketing campaign on these bad boys, right? Crisco. to make all your cooking exciting to eat and easy to digest. Easy to digest. Look, Crisco, 9 out of 10 doctors say it's digestible. It's digestible. They don't even say it's healthy or it's beneficial. I mean, how did they get away with that? That's how they fool the public, guys, through propaganda, through media, through powerful marketing. So this is the stuff. Now, even if you want to go away and you look into this yourself now, more scientific evidence is coming out about these seed oils. It's creeping in, creeping in, creeping in. A lot of people are talking about it. You need to stay clear of these lads. 9 out of 10. I'd love to speak to the 10th guy. Was he not paid enough? Do you know what I mean? So little things like this. Next slide, right? You've got the FDA, boys, right? It's an administration, the Food and Drug Administration, based in America. But all these guys' decisions affects our decisions. Now, what they are responsible for is the safety of food, medicine, and cosmetics. All these products have to go through extensive processes in order to get them on the shelf so that we can consume or rub on our face or put in our body or eat with our mouth, right? These guys are the top dogs. Now, obviously, if they're just an administration, they need to be money-driven, because you're not just going to, off your own back, go and think, oh, I'm going to study this piece of whatever, fruit juice, to see if it's positive or negative for my body. You're not going to do that off your own back, are you? Unless you're a bit strange. But you're going to need funding. So these scientists need funding in order to tell us what food and what medicine and what cosmetics are good for our body. Now, where do these guys get their funding from? And you can look into this. This is honestly public forum. There's a guy called Bobby Kennedy. I don't know if you know him. He's JFK's nephew. And he's talking heavy on this now, really heavy. The FDA, right, where do they get all their money to conduct these studies to tell us lot what's good for our body or not? They're 75% funded by Big Pharma. They're 75% funded by big pharmaceuticals. But wait a minute, is that not a conflict of interest? Because change that, sorry I broke the TV, change that medicine to product. Medicine, medicine, you've got to think about medicine. Yes, it's very beneficial. I'm a big supporter of medicine. My niece is diabetic type 1. If she doesn't have her synthetic insulin, it's kaput. Yeah? I'm a big supporter of medicine. Love it. And the guy who invented penicillin was Scottish. Get in, lads. Come on. Alexander Fleming. So, if you change that to product, why are their best interests? So could there be, that's all I'm asking you is, could there be massive amount of conflict of interest? I'm not telling you there is. I'm just asking you to think, could there be? Yeah? When it comes to this in particular, nutrition. Now, I'm not going to go heavy into that. I'm not qualified. I don't want to talk about medicine. But the same guys that are creating the products are funding the studies. That's all I'm asking you to think about off the back of this, lads. That's it. Yeah? Enough doom and gloom. Everyone, no, the food's going to kill you. Right? Enough doom and gloom. So how do we navigate our way through the complexities of all this? 2 words: damage limitation. Now, boys, I know off the back of this, you might be filled with energy and think, oh, Johnny told me about this, and Johnny told me about the food, the ultra-processed food that's detrimental for us. I'm going to be really conscious, and I'm going to eat the things that he's told me to eat. 2 weeks down the line, that energy starts to lessen, and you're going to be going out for meals, and they're going to be cooking with seed oils, and you're going to be wanting quick fixes. In the big Chris, a lorry driver, he's going to be going at the service station, and for quick, convenient fixes, he's going to be getting food on the road, obviously. But damage limitation. He knows if he's been caught short, then the next day he has to cook a nutrient-dense whole meal with chicken, with fish, with beef, with vegetables, with a nice unrefined carbohydrate, nice sweet potatoes. So it's all about damage limitation, lads, and we have to be realistic. You have to be realistic with your nutrition, because, like I say, you're always going to be in situations and circumstances where you are eating ultra-processed food. So you just have to limit the damage and be realistic. And Big Scott, I never heard this saying before, Big Scott said this in the group a couple of weeks ago, right? True moderation. Now, what the hell does moderation mean? What does it actually mean? Because sure as hell it means something different to Tyler as it does to Scott, and as it does to Arnold, as it does to Gus. Moderation is one of the worst blanket messages in the fitness industry ever, because who knows what it actually means? It's got no tangible thing that we can base that message off, moderation. So, moderation in moderation. You have to get that conscious decision about what moderation is, yeah? And think about things when you're putting them into your mouth all the time. That's how we end up navigating our way through the complexities of nutrition. Now, there's a saying that I'd love you boys to live by, and every time you go to make a decision with your food, now I'm not saying you're going to constantly live like this, but the single question that is going to have the biggest benefit in your health and longevity when it comes to the food that you're putting in your mouth is this, right? If this food didn't run, swim, fly, or grow from the ground, it's not a positive contribution to my body, yeah? It's not a positive contribution to my body. So if you think about it, it's got to be natural, it's got to be nature, it's got to be all these foods that had them essential minerals that I was telling you about. So if we think about that, and we ask ourselves that question consciously all the time, you are going to have a massive positive effect on every aspect of your life. Not just physically, lads, but mentally. Nutrition is everything, yeah? We even look at the mental health. Like, there's an epidemic with mental health within society, and arguably a massive, I spoke in schools for children in the Cotswolds, and all these guys would stand up and talk about the epidemic with teenagers. They'd all say it was to do with this, it was to do with that, maybe it's to do with this. And I used to stand up and I used to say, guys, there is a massive smoking gun right in the middle of that floor, and everybody's just doing that. Everybody's just ignoring that smoking gun. It's having such a detrimental effect on our mental health. So you have to be getting your nutrition right. And I'm not saying you have to be perfect. Like I say in the wing and preach in the wing, progress, not perfection, lads. That's how you become conscious for your nutrition. Ask yourself questions and just think progress. Not asking you to be perfect off the back of this weekend, but just think, yeah.